A big advantage to me when it comes to fishing at different times of the year for different species of fish is the ability to use one lure to cover top to bottom. I know from experience that lures that sink, like a countdown Rapala, is very versatile because depending on the speed that I retrieve it at and how long I wait before I start my retrieve will determine how deep that lure will run. The type of fishing presentation that I'm talking about has a name. It's called the countdown method. To do the countdown method properly, you need a lure that sinks. You also need to know the sink rate of the lure. And many of the lures that are on the market have a sink rate of about a foot a second. So that will determine how deep the lure will be when you start retrieving it. The next thing you need to do is figure out how deep the water is. If you're in a boat and you have a fish finder, you know exactly how deep the water is. But if you don't have a fish finder or you're fishing from shore, you'll need to make a test cast. And you let it sink and you count how long it takes for it to sink to the bottom. So if it took 10 seconds to fall to the bottom, you know it's about 10 feet deep. When you make your first cast after you know the depth, if you let the lure only sink for 2 seconds, you're going to be fishing it at about 2 feet below the surface. If you count down to 5 seconds, you're going to be what we call in the mid-water column. If you let it go to 9 seconds before you retrieve, you're going to be retrieving that lure very close to the bottom. You can also manipulate the depth that they're running at by the speed that you're retrieving at. For example, if you know that you're coming up to a weed bed, you can retrieve it much quicker to bring that lure to rise up. You can also add a tantalizing action by twitching your rod every once in a while. And a lot of times, if you get a follow, you can let that lure sink down a little bit deeper and then twitch it again to trigger a strike. Whether you're targeting fish that are above the weeds and you need to keep that lure up there, or you're targeting fish in deeper water, the countdown method is ideal for putting your lure right in front of them so you can hook them.